This is K.Short and welcome to Real Short. Today I'm here with Jackie again. I want to clarify with all of you that our last video together with our semi-straight, straight lesbian one, that was not an interview. That was us tag teaming off of each other. As you all know, Jackie was a little shy in the beginning. It took her a little bit to open up, but I think we're a little bit better now. We're on our second video, so hopefully she's a lot more talkative this time. And if you want to see interviews, you could go down to the ones when I did my 20-somethings with Nadine, Andrea, Paloma. But today, we are going to be talking about our generation, aka Generation Y, Generation Me, the Millennials. This is a topic that came up with Jackie because she was listening to talk radio.
I was driving to work. The guys were talking about the new generation. If they would have stayed in their own town, how they would have been stuck in a marriage or had kids and not living the life that they wanted to live. The new generation's allowing for change, accepting the LGBTQ community, women's running for president, women not getting married so young and realizing just putting a ring on my finger isn't like my entire goal in life. Like, I want to go to school, I want to have dreams of my own and aspirations. Maybe I'll have a kid, but I don't necessarily need to have a kid with a man. I can do it on my own. For men to realize how the generation has changed, and I'm talking about these are 45, 50-year-old men who've lived their whole lives and they're realizing the difference between the old generation and the new generation. It's a big deal.
I'm slightly infatuated with our generation just because I had this book called Generation Me, and I'm not sure if you can see that, but I got this book from Valeria. Generation Me, Generation Y, Generation Millennials, just because I feel like we're a different kind of generation. My own experience and my own thought processes, like I could sit here and I could tell you all, you know what, this is what this book says. And I could sit here and do all this research for all of you. And I could sit here and say, this is what this doctor said, and this is what this PhD person said. But I'm just going to tell you like it is, and this is just my own thought process, how I feel about our generation. We're the generation that remembers life without technology. Don't get me wrong, we were a part of the technology merging, but I feel like, at least for myself, as you all learned in my last video, that I was playing in the street. And technology was very much, there.
We used to have cars where you had to roll the windows down.
Yeah.
Now, kids don't even know how to roll a window down. They have to push the button. It's pathetic.
I got my first cell phone when I was 13, and it was the first Sidekick.
Where I got my first cell phone when I was 17, and they still had pagers out.
We were that generation that was the in-between, I guess you should say. And I feel like it was kind of like between the old and the new. A good portion of our generation is still very much old school. They still want to have their religion very close to them. They still want to have a family. They still want to have kids. They still want to have the white picket fence. They still want to have the male as the breadwinner. They still want
2.3 kids and a dog.
Exactly. I definitely think that is still alive and well in our generation. But we also have a different part of our generation where we were raised with single parent households, and
we're more dreamers. We have goals, and our generation seeks them out versus thinking that the sky's the limit. We don't truly even have a limit.
Really nothing that is going to stop me from what I want to do. Even I came from this particular background, even if I came from this socioeconomic background, even though I hold these identities, I was born at the bottom. I can still get to the top. And I also feel like we're the most, I'm not sure if the correct word is like skeptical. We don't trust the system just to trust the system. I don't think we trust the educational system. Don't get me wrong, we're the most educated generation. Definitely Generation X did a push for our generation to go to school, because that was a huge thing in their generation. Like, if they went to school, you're going to be successful. I feel like Generation X pushed us to go to school because that's what would make them successful in the Generation X time. But now that all of us went to school, followed suit, now we're the most educated generation. There's nothing wrong with that, but now, we know the job market
where we went to school, and then there's some people who are like, well, I know everyone's supposed to go to school, but then they didn't go to school because they're like, well, we can get jobs without it. Now the new age allows for you to have a career. You can make a certain amount of money a year without an education. Fresh out of high school, you make $100,000 a year. Why go to school?
Yeah.
We ask why.
Not a lot of us are going to put our money in the bank and just trust the bank. Let's just trust government, or trust the church, or let's trust the educational system, or let's trust everything that we've ever known, because that's how they say it's supposed to be, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I feel like a lot of us question it. Instead of just looking at Generation Y as the letter Y, but what about just Generation Y? why do I have to do that? Why do I have to conform to those norms? Why do I have to live my life this way? Why do I have to listen to all of these traditions that we had? Even now, the things that are in the news, like, we have an opinion about everything. As you all can tell from this channel, I feel like we're more willing to find our own truth. That we're not just going to believe what our parents said. We're not just going to believe what our grandparents say, and we're going to question everything. And imagine the next generation where it's kind of like there's too much information. I kind of don't know what to believe. I just definitely think we're hitting a sweet spot. I really do believe that we can be the generation of a new revolution. I really, really, really strongly believe that it's going to be our generation that kind of flips the world on its head and is like, let's put us on a better path.
People to think about things, other than to ignore it, pretend like they don't exist. We talked about racism, it's back out there. Women running for president. Our president is black. How many states now support
A lot.
gays and lesbians? Literally, we are just pushing things to the limit. The older generation taking a step back, like, hey, they're in charge.
Especially because the last of our generation is all in their teenage years, and they have an immense amount of information available to them. And I just really, really think that if we just sift through all of the BS and what makes sense to us and what speaks to our heart, I think we're going to go in the right direction. If you don't feel like we're that generation, exactly what Nadine said in a few videos ago, says we need to stop waiting for the hero and be the hero. I really truly believe it's our generation that's going to make a change, make our world a better place, you know. And you all met my nieces and nephews. That's Generation Z. Like,
oh, by the way, I saw that, and they're incredibly smart. Where, and me at that age, I wouldn't have. What did he say? Constipation?
Yeah, I was like, constipation. I was like, I had to clarify. I was like, wait, are we talking about the same thing?
The older ones, I can't even remember.
And he was talking about hard work. Hard work pays off more than talent. I was like, Avian,
in his little kid brain, he was thinking about sports. But at the end of the day, you have like a good idea. It's as if that's what you want to do in the long run, you really have to work hard for it.
Yeah. My last piece is we can't wait for another hero. It's going to be our generation. And I think the reason why we're in the sweet spot is because we have a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new, as opposed to having a lot of the old or all of the new, where it's like, okay, I remember life when it was simple. I remember life when we were outside writing letters, making phone calls. You know,
going to someone's house versus using technology
to
communicate.
She literally rang my doorbell and knocked on my door. Usually people will say, hey, I'm outside, can you open the door? And we remember that, and I think our generation has such a craving for remembering those times when technology wasn't everything. But don't get us wrong, we're still very much immersed in technology. We very much have our social media platforms.
Like, be honest, if your phone broke right now, you'd be kind of like helpless.
I would be helpless because I wouldn't be able to film these videos. And now we want to use technology to our advantage, not let technology use us. Because I feel like that's where Generation Z is at. It's like where technology is taking over their whole life.
They don't have anything else but it.
We're the revolution. We're going to be the change that we want to see in the world. I really believe we're the change makers. I really do believe we're the risk takers. I really do believe we're the dreamers and the doers. And the reason why I have this channel, because I want to bring all of these people together so all of us can make an impactful change. I just want all of us to bring all of our unique identities and make the world a better place. I really do feel like we have a sweet spot.
We recycle, take care of the homeless, volunteer, and share our free time, care about animals. We understand that our world's going to blow up if we don't act now.
For some of the millennials out there who really think that that's just the way it is and there's no hope for humanity or all that stuff, I really do believe, jump on this bandwagon. If you're going to jump on any bandwagon, jump on the one where it's going to be us that really makes a change, and I truly believe that.
We do live in this generation where there's not a cap on it saying do this, do that, and I mean like right now. I mean, it's you really just have free range to do what you want to do and be yourself, and I appreciate being part of this generation.
I encourage all of you to just really believe in our generation that we can make a change and that we're the ones who are going to be raising our children in a better, sustainable world, in a better world where everyone is equal, in a world where there's fairness as much as possible, in a world where we've talked about the most important things that we could talk about and we didn't just sweep things under the rug like a lot of past generations did. Like we're
real, we're honest, vocal, not shy by any means.
Encouraging us to be ourselves, encouraging others to be themselves. I really do believe this is a sweet spot. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. I wanted to try something different just because you all are like, try something different. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who's filled out my Survey Monkey. If you haven't, that survey is going to continue to be open because I would absolutely love all of your feedback on how to make better videos. And one of the feedback was just try something different. And so as you all can see, we kind of just tag team on this topic. We definitely had a lot to say about it. So if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you like what we're talking about, just make sure to subscribe. Also, what are your thoughts on our generation? What are your thoughts on the baby boomers? What are your thoughts on Generation X? What are your thoughts on Generation Z? What's going to be after Generation Z? That's the real question. Is it Generation A? Like,
maybe it's XYZ.
Who knows what that's going to be? But what are your thoughts? Numbers or something.
1, 2, 3.
So make sure to share this video. I want to make this video particularly, and I want to try it out with all of you. It's just a dialogue. What are your thoughts on this generation? And if you're a part of previous generations, if you're a part of the following generation, nieces and nephews, Avian, Tyler, and Avril, go ahead and comment below what you really think, because the fact that you can even do that kind of blows my mind. What are your thoughts on what we just said about Generation Y? And just don't think about it as the letter Y, think about it as Y. My name's K.Short, and this is...
I'm Jackie.
And so thank you all for being with us for Real Short, and we will see you all next Sunday.